Record. All right. And my squeaky chair. I gotta sit still here. All right. Let's rock and roll. Welcome to the latest episode of In the Ring with Sumo Heavy. I'm your host. Who's making the noise? Who's doing it? All right, starting again. Welcome to the latest episode of In the Ring with Sumo Heavy. I'm your host, John Suter. With me is my co-host and partner in many, many, many crimes, and also the co-founder and CEO of Sumo Heavy, Mr. Bart Mraz.
Hey there.
Hey there. And on the show today, we have Matthew Parvis. He's the co-founder of Fresh Clean Tees, a direct-to-consumer brand in lovely San Diego, California. Welcome to the show, Matthew.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Let's just jump right into it. Tell us all about Fresh Clean Tees. What's that all about? What's the elevator pitch?
Well, Fresh Clean Tees is a men's basics brand. We focus really on the core wardrobe piece for every guy. Your basic T-shirt, black, white, gray. We have a number of colors, come in crew neck, V-neck. We are available as a subscription. We can order your shirts either monthly, bi-monthly, or quarterly. But we also have a ton of one-time shopping options. So we kind of look at ourselves as a bit of a hybrid. And on top of our T-shirts, you can also grab yourself like a really soft and comfortable hoodie, sweatshirt. We have some tank tops. So we really focus on like the core essentials for guys. And we try to do that at a price point that is not overly ridiculous, which I think that you kind of sometimes see with direct-to-consumer brands these days. You see like a black T-shirt or a white T-shirt for like $40 or $50, and we think that that's a little bit too much. So we try to focus on like a premium product, but at an affordable price point.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We are fans, and Bart will give you his fan story a little later in the podcast. Why don't you tell us the origin story, how the whole thing came to be, even including the name. You can be as broad or as narrow as you'd like to be, but we'd love to hear the origin story.
Cool. Well, so the business, and forgive, there's some noise in the background on my side. We have an auto body shop next to our office. So perks of sunny San Diego. I apologize. It tends to happen at the worst times possible.
It adds character to the podcast.
Exactly. My wife, who is my business partner and co-founder of Fresh Clean Tees, Matthew Parvis, she comes from an apparel background. So Melissa worked for Hurley, Billabong, and then when we were both living in Las Vegas, she worked for one of the largest screen printers in the country, handling clients like UFC and Disney, Tough Mudder. And me, on the other hand, I have always been a habitual T-shirt wearer. I wear like a black crew neck or V-neck essentially every day, as you can see here. And I was picking them up at Target regularly. And while Melissa was at the screen printer, I was essentially becoming a T-shirt guinea pig to decide which T-shirts they were going to use for their various clients. We found a black T-shirt, or I found a black T-shirt that I loved, and I was like, I need like 40 of these. So we bought like 40, or Melissa bought 40, wholesale, and I just love the idea of having like this batch of the same shirt. It fit really well. I got it in a bunch of different colors. So that was probably 2 to 3 years before we launched the business. When we moved to San Diego, Melissa was working for another company here that she wasn't particularly thrilled with. And this is right during like kind of like prime time Dollar Shave Club, everyone talking about subscription businesses. Melissa kind of left her full-time job and was doing some consulting. We were in lovely Hawaii trying to brainstorm a way to just create some sort of fun hobby-based business that we could do on the side. And we looked at subscription businesses, and we saw there were two winners, it looked like. There was the Dollar Shave Club replenishable, every guy or every girl needs these items monthly or quarterly. And then you had the like super niche subscription boxes, maybe the knitting club of the month,
Right.
that had a very small but dedicated fan base. And we didn't see, it didn't look like there was an in between. You either have like the replenishable basics or the super niche, yoga pants of the month club. And we started thinking like, well, what if we did something around t-shirts? This is something that Melissa has a lot of experience in terms of sourcing and designing and finding really quality shirts. And obviously I make a really good t-shirt guinea pig. So we started playing around with some domain names, just kind of on the spot. I think we were looking at like Dollar Tea Club, all of these, what you would think of if you were trying to like use inspiration from what was out there. And I actually don't recall like where we found the fresh, clean teas, but it was one of the many searches we found. And we're like, this works. The domain's available. We don't see anyone else doing this. I think there was someone that was doing like a white t-shirt club, and it was just white tees. And I think that they're defunct at this point in time. And so we thought like, well, let's give it a go. And that's kind of how we got our start. Was just, trying to come up with something together with your wife, and, hobby project, trying to figure it out. And, the rest is history.
So you were definitely sold on doing a subscription model. And after going in a circle, you finally realized, well, we both know clothing, and I certainly know t-shirts. So that's how you wound up with Fresh Clean Tees. And also the name, you have to play that SEO game where it's like, what are people going to be searching for? But let me not be so narrow as to lock myself out from growth in the future. So a white t-shirt club wouldn't work, but Fresh Clean Tees, they're hopefully always going to be fresh and clean. And I think that really works. I really like the name. I like the brand.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we really are happy with it. And like you said, it leaves a lot of room for us to kind of work around it. It's something that we've definitely thought of. And we've, the parent company is Fresh Clean Apparel. So we do think that there's still plenty of room to grow outside of, the t-shirts. And like I mentioned earlier, we have a really loyal following of guys now that love our hoodies and our sweatshirts. And, we're certainly more than just tees already.
Awesome. So take me back. We're still going to focus on the origin and the founding of the company. What year are we talking here when you and your wife came up with the idea?
2015. So we are 4.5 years old. Yeah. So I think that, a lot of times we see a lot of D2C brands that have this like 2-year hyper growth story. And I think a lot of it becomes around the idea of like creating instant momentum. We took an opposite approach of conservative growth over the first number of years. I was working as a marketing and content strategist for a major online gambling company for most of my career. And I was doing that job up until 2 years ago. So I was working full time while we were growing the brand and trying to figure it out. So while we are, almost 5 years old, I think that a lot of our growth has really come in the last 2 years or so, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it's a very common story where it's like you're keeping the day job, and you try to have that appearance of, yes, this is my business, this is my passion, but you know what, you got to pay the bills, keep the lights on. So now
100%.
you're all in with Fresh Clean Tees though, right? This is your thing.
100%. Yeah,
All
we
right.
are all in at this point.
So the hustle paid off. So you guys are based in California?
Yes, we are based in Pacific Beach here in San Diego. The business started out of our home originally. And, while I was working the day job, Melissa was busy, packing, organizing literally every single order that went out up until I think we had like 1,000 members at the time. When we realized, oh man, our house is becoming a warehouse. The garage is packed with shirts everywhere. The guest bedroom just has boxes everywhere. This is not sustainable anymore out of this house. So yeah, I mean, we really like, if you kind of go back and, we look at the photos sometimes of the iterations of everything from our packaging to the flow of orders. We've done it all. I mean, Melissa's like really grinded through that early stage of the business where you're packing all those orders. I think is, I would always come home and just see the amount of like orders sitting outside waiting to be picked up by USPS or whomever was picking up. And I was just always amazed that we were able to like keep track. Melissa was keeping inventory on a spreadsheet. I mean, we're talking about like basic, as there was no tech stack. This was all like a hands-on, like thank you notes in every order.
Right.
We would keep track of when we had the subscription, and we have a pack that's like our bold pack. It used to be called the all color pack. And Melissa would keep a note basically, okay, Bart got blue, red, and gray this month. The next month we would make sure he would get another set of 3 colors. This is like when we went into our first 3PL, they're like, there's no way we can do this. So we had to start developing processes and whatnot. But it was a bootstrap from the get-go and kind of dig in and get your hands dirty kind of business.
Yeah. I mean, it must have been exciting, that like you mentioned the sight of seeing all the orders packed up and waiting to be picked up. But at the same time, how stressful that is. It's like, you just feel like you're never going to get caught up, and you never feel like you're going to get those orders out the door. So as you guys grew, let's touch on that. You talk about your tech stack. You went from just keeping, your wife keeping notes on a spreadsheet. How did you transition to something more formal, and what did you use? Because our listeners were an e-commerce based podcast, so they probably want to hear like the behind the scenes stuff of how you integrated tech and how you made all that work and kind of got your sanity back.
So we built the original site on a platform called Cratejoy, and I don't know if you guys are familiar or if the listeners are, but it was a subscription focused e-com platform. And I mean, it was just kind of had a site builder that we built and tweaked and improved upon. I think that we could only offer like a handful of one-time SKUs with the way that their ecosystem worked. And so we started getting some feedback that as much as some guys love the subscription, a lot of guys wanted more flexibility and the ability to order once or, build their own pack or not take the colors that we were kind of giving them. So we embarked on a pretty big project in 2018, the beginning of 2018, where we migrated from Cratejoy over to Shopify Plus. And so that was really the biggest kind of developmental shift of the business, was moving platforms, which was pretty tricky. And if the listeners out there have done it before, you probably are aware that it is not easy, especially when you have subscribers, to migrate payment information over. We had to kind of figure out which renewal option or subscription option we were going to use on the Shopify side. So when we got started on Shopify, we launched May 2018 on Shopify with Shopify Plus. We utilize Recharge for our renewing customers, the subscription side of things. We use Yotpo for all of our reviews, the review engine. We really think that it's a solid product. And then the inventory management for us was the biggest puzzle, so to speak, because if you are a visitor of our site, you'll see most of what we sell on the subscription side, on the one-time shop side, Sorry, it was a tongue twister. We sell a lot of packs. We sell 3 packs and we sell 5 packs. Now, in addition, we sell single teas, but all of our inventory is managed on the variant level. So our inventory is managed. We know how many black crew neck mediums we have in stock, and we don't pre-kit those. So the black, if we pre-kitted, then we would have all this inventory that was stuck in limbo in packs, and there would be no flexibility. So we needed to find an inventory system that would be able to take the orders in from Shopify as packs, then break them down into the individual variants so that the team, whether it be the 3PL or it was the 3PL at the time, the 3PL doesn't even see what the pack looks like. They don't know that, you know, Bart bought a like basic 5-pack crew neck large. They just see that they're getting a black t-shirt, a white t-shirt, a heather gray t-shirt. They're just getting the actual breakdown and picking those shirts. So we looked at a lot of options and landed on Stitch Labs, who is managing all of the inventory control for Fresh Lean Tees. So
could you say that again? Stitch
Labs.
Stitch Labs. Okay.
They've been around for a bit.
Yeah, and so that allows us the flexibility of all of our shirts are stored essentially as individual T-shirts, and then they are pushed forward basically into packs when they get sold. So if the and each month for our subscribers, we have a number of packs which are rotating as well. So like a bold 3-pack 1 month will be 3 colors, and then the next month it'll be a different 3 colors. And so for us to be able to manage that, we have to be able to kind of take that same listing SKU on the Shopify side and then push it over into the variant side. So the essentially the bundles are being swapped on the back end. The customer is just seeing kind of what we're making available on the front end.
So, ladies and gentlemen, selling T-shirts isn't as easy as you think.
Well, if it was all clients were like me and Matt, it would be all just black T-shirts.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. It would be really, really
That would make it a lot easier.
Matt, I'm definitely like you. I have all black T-shirts from you, and
Awesome.
just ginormous stack of black T-shirts. That's my everyday.
I know. I don't understand why guys want anything more than that, to be honest. Like,
Right. I mean, in the summer, I would say in the summer, because I spend a lot of time on that shore, a lighter type of color shirts come in handy. But anything else, black T-shirts, blue jeans, you're good to go.
Yeah,
I'm many shades of gray.
Okay. You know what? That was the original pack of. We used to have a. Now it's called the all gray pack, which is 3 different colors gray that we have. But when we first launched, it was called the Shades of Gray pack. Which
I've seen that one. I have definitely seen that one.
Yeah, we used to get a little clever with the title of the packs when we were on Crateaway, and then I think that sometimes you get a little bit too clever where you think it's funny and like, you know, internally you're like, yeah, this is great, you know, the Hank Moody like black pack or whatever it is,
right?
You know, the James Dean pack, like, but people don't get all the references all the time. So.
That's great. So let's keep on the tech side of it. How are you managing your site? Do you have people on staff now? Are you outsourcing, or what does that look like?
We're a really lean in-house team. We've kind of built ourselves up and bootstrapped this thing every step of the way. So Melissa and I, our first employee was hired last February full-time. Casey, who does a great job really managing a lot of the customer experience issues and customer service. And then we brought on a social media manager in the summer of last year. So currently we have a team of 4. That team is growing to 6 starting March. But from a tech standpoint, we have when we migrated over from Cratejoy to Shopify, we used BVXL, who helped us out, an agency out of San Diego. And now we're using an agency called Scoutside, who is really, really familiar with recharge, which was important for us because obviously the subscription side of things is important. We wanted to create a really unique customer portal that wasn't kind of the stock recharge portal, which is a little bit simplistic. And so they've had a lot of experience working with recharge and helping us build that portal out. So users can, you know, if you're a member, you're able to now log into your account, still see what your upcoming shipment is, but maybe add a hoodie to that upcoming shipment, or add a, you know, Henley, which is like one of our kind of specialty items that we don't have available for subscription. So now you're able to kind of easily add some of that stuff. So Scoutside's been a great partner for us.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's people don't realize how complex subscription businesses are in reality, right? It's not, you know, when do people cancel, how they cancel. There's a lot of that goes into this whole rigmarole.
Let's Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say,
No,
let's stay on the subscription side of it.
for
And
sure.
talk about the challenges there. Um, uh, I'll get right to the point. How do you deal with that dreaded the C word, churn? I mean, how do you deal with that?
You know, it's kind of like an elephant in the room sort of situation. We've had, I don't want to say it's an issue with our subscription, with our membership, because I think it's just a change in the psychology for our customers. When we moved over to Shopify, we wanted to make things far more flexible for guys. We wanted guys to have the option to buy once. We wanted more options for them to buy once. We have, build your own pack collection. You can buy single t-shirts now, which we didn't used to allow because we were worried about the AOV on like just offering one $16 t-shirt. And so, but when we played around with offering those various flexible options for the one-time side, we saw our AOV was going up. So we were getting more cash in the door a little bit faster than we were on just funneling people through to that 3-pack subscription. But the caveat to that is long-term now, the subscription growth has actually slowed down quite a bit. And you mentioned churn. Churn's a tricky number for us because what we see is, yes, a guy may have canceled their subscription, but they've canceled their subscription and then ordered 3 5-packs on because they want more flexibility from it. So we're in a bit of a spot right now where we're trying to do a lot of analysis on how we can tweak the model that we've built, which is really like a 3-pack and 5-pack model for the subscriptions or for the members, and make that far more customizable. So if you're building a bundle, let's say you wanted a black crew neck, a red V-neck, and then a long sleeve t-shirt, we want that to be able to be your regular order if that's your go-to order. But as Bart mentioned, subscriptions are really tricky, and to allow for a fully customizable subscription product, it requires just a lot of work on our end, not only from a tech standpoint, but also from an inventory management standpoint. And so, we've always discussed trying to stay really, really lean with our inventory because inventory can kill businesses if you're not careful with it. Because
right, too much or too little.
If you're looking at your P&L every month, you're looking, okay, everything's looking really, really good. We're showing healthy margins. But if you're sitting on inventory that's in a warehouse that you're not getting that cash back on, then your P&L doesn't matter at all. So it's something that we've been trying to battle because it's a shift. We want to offer all of these options that our customers are asking for, but at the same time, we have added a huge component of inventory that we're keeping because of that. So the more flexibility and customization options you offer, the more complex it becomes from a tech standpoint, the more complex it comes from a fulfillment standpoint, and also from an inventory standpoint. So, so we're kind of circling back to your question on churn. We know what our churn is. We look at the subscription growth. We are more focused on overall revenue growth right now and building a customer base with the acknowledgement that we need to put some serious man hours and woman hours into redefining that subscription flow for sustainability as we scale.
Understood. So let's keep on the topic of customers. Let's first identify who is your ideal customer, and then we'll go from there.
It's so funny. When we started this business, we had, we did all the exercises that you do to create your personas, right? You've got and we thought that it was going to be a much trendier sort of customer, that like 21 to 28-year-old. And what we found is our customers are like, it's me basically, it's like I'm 39, and we have a lot of like family guys, dads, like professionals. Our sweet spot is probably right in that 30 to 45-year-old range. We have about our biggest customer share in terms of geography is California. I think that has a little bit to do with us being based here. Also, it's a warm weather most times of the year, so you kind of can get away with a t-shirt most times.
You're going through more t-shirts. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, and so we see like our biggest kind of customer shares are out of California, Texas. We have a huge base out of New York, but I think that's just because guys are wearing t-shirts under their like with a blazer. So we think that our shirts are really flexible. So if you're looking at just from an analytics standpoint, you'll see our purchase volume is pretty equal between 25 and 45 across the board. Conversion rate gets better the higher that number goes. So the conversion rate's better at like the 35 to 45. I think just there's a little bit more disposable income there in place. And, we have younger customers, but those guys seem a little bit more intrigued by some of the specialty items that we have. We offer we call it our long line t-shirt and a split hem, which are 3 inches longer. I don't know if you're familiar with these guys that are wearing these really, really long blousey t-shirts.
Yeah.
So that's the young guy. They wear them with like skinny jeans and these kind of almost oversized shirts. And those are really popular with the younger guys. But, if you look at our Instagram, if you look at like the tagged photos, you'll see a lot of guys that are really proud to share their Fresh Clean tees that are dads, that are husbands, that are, just average Joes. And that is something that we're really proud of because, it's, when you're selling something, we're in Pacific Beach. So our neighbors here are Blenders Eyewear and Pura Vida bracelets, both two like behemoths in the D2C industry, much younger demographic. They're very used to sharing everything on Instagram. Like, a 20-year-old girl is sharing their whole life on Instagram and they've got like 30,000 followers. Like a 42-year-old dad from Texas doesn't do a lot on the old Instagram.
Right.
But when they do, they're tagging Fresh Clean Tees and they're engaging with our brand. And so that we're really proud of because I think that like if we can provide a shirt that's something as simple as a t-shirt to a guy that's got 7 Instagram posts and 4 of them are tagging our brand, they might have like 17 followers, but that's really important to me. That shows that we're like making a difference and we've got an impact and that we're making these guys legitimately happy and they're excited about getting our t-shirts each month or quarter.
Yeah, I've noticed in your social media and some of the, obviously I had to do a little research on you and the company before the podcast. And there was a lot of like unboxing videos that were really good. And these guys were like, oh, I love the packaging. I love that. And that is just, obviously that's free advertising. So that's great. When you talk about your ideal customer, you've created the persona and you know who that is. What's your acquisition strategy? Where do you go after these guys?
I'd say 90% of our acquisition is coming through paid social media on Facebook and Instagram. I managed it when we were really small, the spend, and just kind of like really tried to perfect the whole like Facebook ads platform and understanding how it works and, getting deep into the weeds on lookalike audiences and all of the various strategies you can play into. And some of our most successful ads that we've run, they just continue. We've got like one carousel ad that's been running on Facebook for I think like 2 years, and all logic tells you that like there's no way that this ad should still be running, right? It doesn't. Facebook kind of like constantly is telling you to refresh your creative, but it works, and I think sometimes these things work because there becomes like this comment thread on all the ads. And if you've ever seen an ad that has a ton of comments, you're way more interested in it than if it has 0 comments or 0 likes. You start like browsing through the comments and it becomes an FAQ for your brand. And it also becomes like a point of testimonial for your brand because you get customers in there advocating for your brand within the comments. And those comments then spur more comments. And so we've just had a lot of success with Facebook and Instagram, and we're really, really lucky that we've had like a very healthy relationship with the platform. We've worked with some really good agency partners that have helped us as we've scaled. The first agency that we hired was called Metric Digital, and they took us for about 6 months from, I don't know, the spend level was pretty low at the time. And now for the past year, we've been using Mute 6 out of LA, who has done like an amazing job managing our spend. But on top of the spend, I mean, you can be the greatest media buyer in the world, but you need to be able to constantly find the right point of connection on the creative and the copy. And so I think that we've found like a really good mix between, some videos, and you mentioned the unbagging videos.
I said unboxing, but
yeah, unboxing. Unboxing is probably better from an SEO standpoint
Sure.
than unbagging. But we try that just to kind of like engage some of our customers in trying to produce a video for us, because people want to see real people interacting with a brand, and that has been a big win. I mean, one of our unbagging videos has gone completely viral on paid social, and it's gotten like 2 million views on Instagram, and I think 3 million views on Facebook. And it's one of those creatives that just won't go away. And so we've tried to iterate off the top of that. So when we find something that works, we know that it's not always you can't always iterate something that worked and assume that it's going to work again, but you can certainly try. Sure. And that's what we've tried to do. And that's why I think you see a lot of those like the unbagging videos, because we've noticed that guys like to see what the shirts look like on different body types and different kind of guys, and what shirt they like. And so that's been really successful for us in the acquisition strategy.
Yeah, that's great. And going back to the Facebook analogy there, you said the one ad, you could just keep running and it becomes an FAQ. Do you guys monitor that, or you just let it kind of run on its own? Or because I've seen it backfire for certain brands.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think, look, we're paying for that ad. So I feel that it's important to really, really be in there moderating and contributing to the conversation. So, we certainly will moderate comments that are like extremely negative on an ad, because we don't feel that that's I just don't like the idea of seeing customer complaints in our ads. If they want to leave a review on the site, I'm fine with that going everywhere. I think that's totally fair. But in the case of like a Facebook platform where we're paying for that ad, I think that it's really important to moderate your comments. If there's like a valid criticism or intriguing question that might not be super positive, I do think that responding and leaving that as part of the ad is really important as well. So we play with it in a few different ways. So we'll get in there if some guy's talking about how much they love it, or they're wondering whether they should try it. Kate, our social media manager's in there, like, giving suggestions on size or tips on colors, or, playful responses with like a GIF, for example. And then if there's like a real, like a question about like maybe where the shirts were made, or are they ethically sourced, all of the kind of like the nitty gritty, we'll get in there and answer those as well. And we want people to see those answers, even if it's not like the best comment for what we're looking for. But if someone's on there just like, there's a lot of guys that come in and they'll say, why would I ever pay $70 for a t-shirt? This is stupid. Or sorry, $70 for 5 t-shirts. This is stupid. And we'll hide that comment. There's like, they're not actually.
He's never going to be your customer.
He's never going to be our customer. He's just looking to troll. And I think that that's like something that you need to manage. And like you mentioned, some brands, they don't monitor the comments on their ads, and they let these ads run.
They let it run.
Everything is just like negative or like disparaging to the brand. And I don't really see that as an effective strategy. If you're paying for that space, you should be in there, and you should be in there daily.
Yeah, no, I have an analogy. I ordered something from an Instagram ad. Turned out it was drop shipped from China. It was a Christmas gift that did not arrive in time. Left multiple comments, no response, nothing. And you go back, and I eventually had to hide the ad because it kept popping up in my feed.
Yeah.
But you just look at all the comments. These guys, they didn't care. They took my money, and they didn't care. So
Yeah,
that's one thing.
that's a battle. That's a battle, I think, with advertising on Facebook and Instagram, and especially at our price point where it's a little bit lower than what you would see from some of the other men's basics brands. I think people just assume that we're drop shipping like shirts out of China sometimes. And, you've got to really dive in there and let people know, like, no, we're like a brand here. We're like based out of California. Your shirts are going to ship from our warehouse in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're aiming for like, fast turnaround times on shipping and processing your order. So all of those things are important. And I think that you're always going to get that. It's funny. My favorite reviews, if you're looking at like our reviews on the site, are the guys that say like, I was super skeptical, but this has become my favorite Instagram purchase ever. Because we've all had such terrible experiences buying stuff on Facebook or Instagram, because just like what you said, you'll order something, you don't see a product for like 3 months, and you just kind of think like, well, they're just wasted another, $40 on.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the weird Kickstarter or Indiegogo sort of problem, right? You order something, and 4 years later, you're like, oh wait, this showed up. What is this?
Bart, remember I ordered that little pocket tripod? It came to my house 4 years later. I didn't even know what it was. But yeah,
you're like,
Matthew,
just get delivery.
But it's a real, and I think for brands, DTC brands, you talk about the drop shipping thing. It's become a real, I'm going to say problem, but stigma or whatever word you want to assign to it. But I think it also becomes an opportunity for brands to, as in a marketing sense, to portray themselves as more authentic and get more into the origin story. And as you had said, I'll talk about where your products are sourced and things, because a lot of these, again, these drop shipping brands, they have the slick video, some paid somebody to do a nice logo, but you don't know who they are. They don't know where they're from. So I think DTC brands and people who run anything in e-commerce really have a marketing opportunity to spin out, their authenticity and about who they are and their story. And I think you guys do a good job of that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we try to be authentic. And, I come from a background of content strategy. I did, for a number of years, I wrote the Las Vegas edition of Thrillist, which is, really like spoke to guys. They actually got into the e-commerce space a little bit when they acquired, what was the name of that brand?
Jack something.
Jack Threads. Yeah.
Jack Threads. Yep.
Yeah. And so I feel like I learned a lot from being on the editorial side of things and seeing kind of what was working from a standpoint of what guys were interested in and how they like to be communicated with and spoken. You interact with a guy, your interaction with guys are so different, even from like a customer experience perspective. We were talking about this today. I'll dive into customer service tickets from time to time based on either need or just wanting to kind of like figure out if there's problems in various areas, to see what the feedback is like as we scale. And I try to have a lot of fun with communicating with customers, because it can be a really like dry kind of communication cycle in customer service. And I think that the more you can create interactivity and like humor and empathy with your customers, if they're going through something like bad, you can easily take a bad experience on customer service and turn it into a like high LTV, like loyal customer. If you interact in the right way, in a way that's like on brand and always kind of, in line with what you're trying to accomplish from a brand standpoint.
Right.
So,
And identifying the customer pain points, having a little empathy, which a lot of brands don't bother to do. Either they're too busy or they just, they couldn't be bothered. And I think that's a real point of difference for some brands.
Totally.
Let's stay on the marketing thing. So in your social media, I noticed that you got involved with,
You're a little annoyed.
well, I don't know how to say this. You got involved with some. Oh, there's the dog. It never fails. I noticed that you guys got involved with the Australian fire. She does this every time. She don't bark at all. Bella.
Happens every time.
Every podcast. I noticed you guys got involved with the Australian Fire Relief Fund. You guys donated some money. How'd you get involved with that?
So we have been trying to find ways to kind of give back. I think that a lot of companies do a really good job, whether it's like, giving 1% to the environment or whatever it may be. And we haven't really found like our quote unquote cause that's like ours just yet. But we've worked with, it's actually an app on Shopify. It's
Fledgling?
Pledgling. Yeah. It's called like Give and Grow, I believe is the name of the app on Shopify.
Grow through giving is their hashtag.
Yeah. And pledging is great. Like I think we were at a meeting at their office in Santa Monica was how we found out about it. And, I think that it's important to find things that are impactful in society, and find ways to contribute. And for us, that app makes it really, really simple. And we all thought like this was a situation where it would be really good if we could try to find a way to give back. And we were giving 1% of our like sales through to that fire relief fund. And we were really excited about it. And it just makes it an easy way to donate. You just throw this app on the site, and there's tons of options with it as well. You can kind of choose the fund. You can let customers decide what they want to donate. There's different, I think it was last summer, we had a Pride pack supporting the LGBT community, where we had a specific pack that we were selling, where we were donating, I think like $15 out of every pack straight to the Trevor Project. And so that's as we get bigger and we develop a culture in-house and our team grows, we're trying to figure out where we want to be impactful with society. And we've got a lot of ideas. There's certainly been people out there that have commented on, a sustainability issue when it comes to a t-shirt subscription, because it encourages guys to like toss out their shirts every like month or two. And we see that. Unfortunately, t-shirts are the type of item I think that they just go bad after a certain number of washes. Either the whites get bad or the blacks get like a little bit faded, or if you're Bart and I and you're just wearing black t-shirts each and every day, it's not going to be lasting. But we're trying to dig in and find our way into giving back and sustainability, and we're looking at a number of ways to do that. And the Australian Fire Relief was something that we thought strongly about in the office, so we kind of just made it. There was no strategy behind it. We just said,
sure.
Do this. Turned it on, did it, raised some money for charity.
Awesome. Kudos to you guys for that. And I think consumers these days are more in tune with obviously sustainability, especially younger consumers, and also how the company operates, as are they altruistic, or are they evil? It's just like really what it comes down to. And as I say, younger consumers are definitely in tune with that. And I think, any brand that's out there really needs to do similar things like that to, just to show their customers that there's some good out there in the world.
For sure.
All right, let's talk about the company. Matthew, are you guys raising money, or do you want to talk about that at all? Or
I think that we're always open to opportunities, whether that's like a
let me ask you the question. I kind of asked you off the cuff.
Oh, sorry.
So let's talk about the company. Are you guys looking to raise money, or what's your plans going forward?
So we've bootstrapped this thing from day one. I think we put like $2,500 into like buying some of our initial equipment, and then buying the first round of inventory and setting up the site. So we're really, really proud of the fact that we've taken this from zero to where we are today. That said, like the direct-to-consumer landscape is changing so quickly. Momentum is so important. And let's be honest, like our product is not something that is like a patented piece of technology. It's a t-shirt. So there certainly is something to be said for raising funds. We've seen a lot of brands that do it and kind of bring in capital that have been able to, I think we talked about it in the beginning of the show, we've taken like a 4.5 to 5 year approach to getting where we are. There's a lot of brands that have taken it's taken them 3 months to get where we are in size because they've got a ton of funding. So we look at it as we're really open-minded to finding, whether it's, investors or partners or other brands to collaborate with. We look at it as, if we can get some value, if we can give some value back, we're always open to discussions of that sort. I think that if it was purely are we looking to raise capital? No. If it was are we looking at engaging with a company that's not only going to be able to help us raise capital, but also have expertise or supply chain assistance or whatever it is as we scale, then that like becomes much more of a attractive option. Because I think when it's just about dollars and cents, that doesn't intrigue us. What we're looking for are to build like partnerships, whether they be with, like I mentioned, brands or people or investment firms. So we look at it very holistically. We take every kind of week and day, we go day by day, week by week, month by month, and try to stay in our lane. And if there's something in there that makes sense, we certainly are open-minded to it.
Any plans or putting your product in bricks and mortar or anything like that? Or
nothing concrete. We've played around with the ideas of how to tackle a brick and mortar approach. We actually were exploring the concept of airport vending machines for a little while.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Where
for me at least.
I think it's a really interesting concept. The logistics behind it and the economies behind it are not all together exciting. And so the short answer is no, we have no immediate plans to go brick and mortar, but we're really eager to find like a solution to introduce our shirts to more guys. And for us, it's like when guys feel them and touch them, it becomes a much different like prospect.
Right.
Get online.
You should just do a deal with Best Buy and just put them in theirs, right? Get your headphones and your T-shirt.
So that's actually, I think Best Buy, those vending machines are managed by an outside company.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's the one that we were talking to is either the same one or like their competitor. And as I mentioned, like you have to buy the vending machines, and then they have to set up the vending machines specifically for your products, and you have to develop a process around replenishment. And then the airports themselves have to actually approve the product.
Right.
They get involved in so there's a lot of red tape. In theory, it's like, I would love it if you could get off a plane and get like there was a Fresh Clean Tees rescue station or something along those lines.
Yes, please.
Grab a hoodie or like just a fresh black T-shirt or white T-shirt.
Or like with the weather just changing all the time, you're like, get off somewhere, you're like, oh my God, I forgot a hoodie, Yeah,
I brought a hoodie and I need a T-shirt. I think, okay. So it sounds great, but logistically, we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet.
All right, we're closing in on some time here. So we're going to do a couple questions about you as a person. Being an entrepreneur, hard work. What's a typical day like for you? How do you manage your time? I think a lot of entrepreneurs and people listening to this podcast would really like some insights on that.
Yeah. So it's funny. We talk about this a lot, my wife and I, because we work together, we live together. It's very, she's laughing in the background. Right? We both wake up pretty early. I wake up probably around 6:15, take the dogs for a walk, make the morning coffee, which usually consists of like dealing with that first round of maybe like 30 minutes to an hour worth of emailing and putting out any fires that may have gotten started during the middle of the night. And obviously as a subscription business, all of our renewals process at like 1 a.m. So typically there are sometimes fires in the morning when you wake up. And then I always find time to like either go for a run or work out for about an hour after that, like kind of first round of morning work. And then we are blessed that we live half a mile from our office. So I walk to work, come to the office, and I spend most of the day here in the seat that you're looking at in our office here in Pacific Beach.
In your fresh, clean tee.
In my fresh, clean tee. We're throwing my black crew neck or my black V-neck every single day and roll over to work. And we just kind of, I work a pretty standard, 9 to 5 at the office. Like I try not to stay too late in the office. But where it gets complicated is then we go home, walking the dogs, having dinner, and that nightly dinner when your wife is also your business partner kind of becomes like a download of the day. That's where a lot of like the actual like strategy comes into play, or like the bigger picture planning that we're trying to work on. And for us, it's usually Melissa that's telling me like, we got to stop talking about work right now. You have to like turn your brain off. And then every once in a while I'll tell her the same, but we try to find that like off switch at some point so that there's a moment to decompress, and whether it's like a stupid TV show or, walking the dogs, trying to find a moment to just not think about the business.
Defrag your brain a little bit.
Yeah. It's super important. Like we really we believe in a work-life balance here. I think that we built this business because we were tired of working for other people that didn't understand the concept of a work-life balance, and we wanted that freedom. I think that we encourage a really flexible work schedule with our employees. Because we have a small office, and if everyone's here at the same time, that nobody's going to fit. And and B, it's important, if you work better from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then you need to go spend like some time outside for a few hours and then maybe another hour at like 7 p.m., like kind of following up, that's the schedule that works for you. That's great. I don't think that people work well when you push them into a box and tell them you have to work these certain hours. We just hired someone that's up in Carlsbad, which is about a 30-minute commute to our office. So for us, we want to build a schedule. We want him to have a schedule that works for him, that's like with traffic instead of fighting against that traffic.
Right.
Because I think it really, really helps like unlock creativity and problem solving if you're not stressed by the idea of like a traditional work day.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, so another quick question. What's the best advice you can give an entrepreneur or a startup right now for someone who's struggling to move their idea forward? Let's just say they have the germ of the idea. What would be the one thing you could tell them to do?
You just got to do stuff. Like, I know that sounds so simple, but I run into so many people that start like, they show me all these plans and they've got like, all right, I'm going to do this. But then I've got to do this research before I can like figure out if the product's going to fit. We're working on like X, Y, and Z, and we're going to do some testing, and just like stop all that and just like start actually doing things. We took the approach, it kind of goes back to this whole bootstrapping thing, but like when you're having to do everything yourself, whether it's like packing a box or like learning how to, like, I'm not a developer, I'm not a coder, but like I learned how to work on Shopify and Cratejoy and like do small things like drop in pieces of code onto sites. And so you gotta, like, if there's a question, there's so many, Google is an amazing thing. You can learn a lot from it by just a few searches that don't require you to hire someone or find. There's so many entrepreneurs are so focused on like building this team of people that are going to do everything for them before they even have a viable product. So I would just say, like, stay in your lane, like learn how to do as much as you possibly can yourself. If you're a creative and you don't know how to run a proper P&L and run the finances, ask someone to help you. Don't just pass it off on them. Learn how to like build a P&L yourself. If you don't know how to do Facebook ads, like there's hundreds and thousands of articles on how to run Facebook ads. Yeah. Don't like hire the latest guru that shows up in your feed that's going to teach you like unlock the strategy to $400,000 in sales. You can do it yourself.
Don't ever hire a guru or a wizard.
Yeah. So just like stop thinking, more doing, learn how to do it all yourself. It sounds like really simple because it is.
All right. 2 more questions and we're going to wrap it up. What would you do if you weren't doing this?
Man. Like I have the dream job, man. Like this is it for me. Like I couldn't imagine. We've talked about it. Like, what are we gonna do if like this business either goes under or we like end up like finding an exit at some point? And I'm 40. I'm good at this point. Like this is what I love doing. This is it. If you could have told the 10-year-old version of myself this is what I'd be doing, I'd be stoked.
Nice. All right. One stupid question. What's the last thing you bought online?
Shoot, I buy so much stuff online.
Same here. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't answer it.
Oh man. What did I buy? Oh, I bought like I love like bonobos, and I bought some shirts from there. And it's like they were like one of the original direct to consumer brands for menswear, and I feel a little bit icky because they're a Walmart company now, but I just really like their stuff and it fits me well. So I buy a lot of that online. And although that wasn't the last thing, I bought solar like garden lights for my house.
Oh, I love those.
That's always
I buy those all the time.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. Matthew, this is where you give your shameless plug. Anything you want to plug, URL, social media, anything you want, the floor is yours.
Man, if you're listening to this and you haven't heard about Fresh Clean Tees, I would love for you to check out freshcleantees.com. We really are proud of the shirts that we're making, and we're really proud of the brand that we're building. And we think that it's something that is like, it's more than just a t-shirt. You're going to get a great t-shirt, that's for sure, but you're going to become part of like our fresh fam, as we call it. And we think that our community is really great. And I love our team. So the more support that we can get over to Fresh Clean Tees, the better. So have a look. And, for those out there that are listening and trying to start their own business, my Twitter and Instagram is @Matthew Parvis. I'm always happy and eager to help people out and answer some questions. So feel free to follow over there or shoot me a DM and I certainly will answer.
Awesome. We love it. We love the product. We're big fans. And we just want to thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks so much, guys. It was really a pleasure and I had a lot of fun.
Oh, same here.
Thanks, Matt.
And if you like listening to the show, please tell your friends, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can find us on the social medias everywhere @Sumo Heavy. And finally, if you want to learn more about Sumo Heavy, head on over to our website, sumoheavy.com. We'll see you the next time in the ring. Matt, thank you. This was great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I got 2 things for you.
I got you out with a minute to spare.
I'm going to use them in 2 seconds. We actually did tons of work for Bonobos, by the way, a few years ago.
Oh, cool.
A lot of work. And funny enough, I wear black t-shirts, and my wife is also Melissa.
Oh. we're twins, Bart. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we'll let you go. Matthew, I'll be in touch via email. I'd like to get you a headshot from you for our social media, and I'll let you know when this is going to post. It'll probably be within a couple weeks or so.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. This was really fun.
Thank you. It was great.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.